this has been... Praise the sun! Praise the sun, baby! The Sin of Wrath versus the Sin of Pride. Meliodas versus Escanor. Amazing fight. When this is animated, this is going to be legendary. So it's been 3 chapters since I've talked about the 7 deadly sins. We had the 1 chapter where we concluded the Melascula fight, where the 7 deadly sins body that bitch. And then we had the double chapter that just came out this week of Meliodas, the Sin of Wrath, versus Escanor, the Sin of Pride. Oh. Before we jump into that, let's quickly get through the Melascula. I think it felt a little bit cheap to a certain degree that they kept her alive. I don't know what that means for Elaine. I don't believe it addressed what will happen with her, because if Melascula is still alive, then technically shouldn't Elaine still be able to be around? They could play it that, well, yeah, Melascula is still alive, but her power isn't strong enough to keep Elaine around anymore, so Elaine will continue to be around, something along the lines of that. But it was good to see all the sins gathering up and beating her ass and all that shit. I was totally rocking with it. I thought it was pretty damn awesome. Also, Merlin getting in a little work. Like, I really enjoyed that part. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, because I expected that chapter in particular to start the Meliodas versus Escanor fight. We didn't get that in that chapter, but it once again teased it towards the end, especially those lines throwing back and forth about you're a simple human and all that shit. That was dope. It was a good setup in there, and we got rid of the Melascula stuff. I will say one thing that I thought throughout that chapter that was kind of like haunting me, and I think a lot of the 7 Deadly Sins fans will agree at this point. Bon feels very, very, extremely weak. He needs his treasure, and he needs it soon, because in comparison to all the other 7 deadly sins, he's a weakling. He really is a weakling as of right now, until he gets his treasure, because it's like he ain't doing shit. He's getting thrown around. He ain't nothing really. Like, he has his immortality that keeps him going, but he needs his treasure bad, because he's looking really, really bad out there in comparison to his comrades, his counterparts of the 7 deadly sins. Now let's move on. Let's talk about those 2 chapters. Nakaba, yeah, you're living up to the expectations with this fight. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, to see, because, you know, you're kind of looking at it like, okay, well, this is Meliodas, who he was prior to getting all them feels and everything. This is the stripped down, the person that was a part of the 10 Commandments, Meliodas. So you're getting the cream of the crop, the most badass version of Meliodas that there is out there. He doesn't give a shit. He's like, yo, I'm from the 10 Commandments, bro. Versus Escanor, the Sin of Pride. I love me. Escanor is probably my top 3 characters in the entirety of, you know, the 7 deadly sins. Meliodas is up there, I believe, as well. And Bon, I think it's a toss-up with Bon and Escanor for number 1 at this point. Bon was my favorite for a long time, but it's a toss-up there, and I probably put Meliodas at 3. But, oh my gosh, this fight, it was so insane. Because we all know that Escanor, he got hands, you know what I'm saying? He's strong. So to see him already, because it was daytime and, you know, he was buff as shit, and he was still getting bodied around. And even when it reached that peak, it's still, you know, he really wasn't putting in much work. He was trying, but Meliodas was kicking ass, which is showcasing that neither one of these people are bullshit. Meliodas' power has not been overhyped, neither has Escanor's. But then when we got to that pivotal moment, the one! This has been one hell of a fight. This is how you do some fights. Pay attention, manga creators, for shonen anime battles, okay? Pay attention, Hiro Mashima, the next time you bring another series around and try to pull a fairy tale, because you need to do shit like this. This is how you build shit up. This is how you make incredible fights. This is how you make them truly live up to the expectations, because you see Meliodas is putting in work. And it took Escanor to be, I forgot if it's an hour that he has or a minute. I'm pretty sure it's an hour. It's the 1 or whatever, where at that moment right there, he is what was it, 110,000 his power level, and he finally put Meliodas on his ass. I mean, it's fighting chapters, so it's not much to really analyze other than the fact of, like, Meliodas is really freaking strong and he's been living up to it. Likewise with Escanor. So as far as analysis go, hey, it's an incredible fight going on thus far. 2 really strong ass motherfuckers, and I'm curious, because being honest, even though Meliodas just got knocked on his ass, the fight ain't over yet. Meliodas is winning this in the end. Now that this is the peak we've seen of, you know, Escanor's power, we haven't seen Meliodas' peak, I don't think. If Meliodas truly goes all the way in, it's going to be a wrap for Escanor. I'm really curious to see, though, how the fuck is Meliodas going to be put down? Because again, I imagine next chapter 2, Meliodas is getting up, Escanor is going to get bopped. Either that or the time is going to run out. Something is going to happen there where Escanor either gets bopped in his prime of what he is right now with the 1, or time is going to run out and he's going to go back to not being as strong, and that's where Meliodas is going to take him down. But I mean, they said it themselves that if that spear was to be put down, I believe Merlin said, he's killing all of them. So how is he going to get out of that? The only way I see is some kind of internal struggle where the real Meliodas pops back after like Elizabeth talks to him or says something, maybe, because remember, Elizabeth has all of her memories back, right? So maybe there's something that she knows to be able to quail him, to make him, like, you know, snap back to reality. That's a possibility. I just don't see, because I see him getting back up, embodying Escanor, and after Escanor, ain't nobody stopping. I mean, who's gonna really stop him? King just barely started touching the power of Gloxinia, Diane, like, none of them are stopping. And then don't get me started, like I said, with Bond. Bond ain't doing shit. He's just gonna get mutilated and come back and get mutilated. So none of them are stopping him. Even if they jumped him, it's not happening. But this has been... Praise the sun! Praise the sun, baby. Absolutely love these chapters. Phenomenal fighting chapters. Great fighting chapters. I'm giving those 2 as a combined effort. 9 out of 10. It was nice to see that neither one of them are backing down. Neither one of them are weaklings. And neither one of them have failed to meet the expectations we've had for them. It's like Pride is fighting one of the strongest of all time. Meliodas, apparently, when he was in the 10 Commandments, he was one of the big dogs. He was one of the strongest people ever. So he's not, you know, backing down. Likewise with Meliodas fighting, you know, the Sin of Pride that at noon, high noon, and that 1 hour, 1 minute, whatever it is. Neither one. It's incredible. This is amazing stuff. I loved it. I could do nothing but fanboy. I really, really loved it. The Melaskula stuff, felt like a cop-out to keep Elaine around. I'm imagining, unless I missed it and Elaine disappeared, Elaine's probably going to stay around and they're going to keep Alaska in that little jar, that little tube or whatever. So, whatever. I mean, this fight is what we've been waiting for. And is meeting it. Oh my god, imagine this animated. Oh, really curious what you guys think about this. For starters, do you think Meliodas is completely down? Again, do you think that it's going to be like what I said? Meliodas is getting back up. It's going to be a wrap for the Sin of Pride. And then maybe Elizabeth is going to talk him out of this incredible hatred and anger and snap him back to reality. Also, what do you think about this fight as a whole? Do you think that it's living up to the expectations? Personally, I think it's meeting it and then some. And that's really hard to do because they've both been hyped up really heavily for not only chapters upon chapters now, but also just strength-wise throughout the entirety of the series. Once we heard that Meliodas wasn't even nowhere near what he used to be, and when we heard about certain hours of the day that the Sin of Pride Escanor can get really, really incredibly strong, and then all that muscular, I was just like, oh, because you know about anime and manga, right? It's a new trend in anime and manga for years now, so maybe not new, but new day and age, muscles isn't a thing no more. We don't see characters just being buff and shit, and I kind of missed that. It felt manly as hell. Like, yo, I want to see some manly shit. You know, even going to Dragon Ball Super Saiyan God transformation, instead of it being like buff, it was just a slim down thing. I like seeing the fucking big buff power, you know, boost that Escanor got. I think that shit looks so cool. Again, I just don't think that that's going to be even enough to put down Meliodas. I don't think we've seen or scratched the surface of his true power when he's in that craziness of Meliodas, the 10 Commandments leader. And your overall thoughts of these 3 chapters? How did you feel about how Melaskula was put down? Do you think that it was a cop-out to keep Elaine around? Oh, and I guess another big question of what I was talking about in the first chapter of these 3 chapters, since I've talked about since. What do you think about Bond? Do you think that he is way too weak because he's missing his treasure? Do you think once he gets his treasure, he's going to be up there? Like, even once he gets his treasure, I still don't see him being that strong. I think his biggest strength, to be honest with you, is his immortality, because no matter what you do to him, he's coming back. And how do you think all this is going to be resolved, I guess? Like, I'm personally really highly betting that it's going to be some talk out, which is going to be a little bit like, I would love to just see Escanor knock the fucking evil out of him. But personally, I just see Meliodas getting back up, like, pretty damn soon within the next chapter, and it's going to be a wrap for Escanor. And what do you think about the fucking muscles, bro? Like, honestly, again, it's nice to be able to just fanboy out. No complaints about it. Well, I guess complaining about the Melaskula ending, which it's not really a complaint. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, they bodied her, whatever. Move on. Just Meliodas versus Escanor. Fucking hype shit, boy. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And again, one more time, the Sin of Wrath versus the Sin of Pride. Meliodas versus Escanor. amazing fight. When this is animated, this is going to be legendary. Have an awesome one, people.